Hello, my friends. So, we all know that we shouldn't believe everything we see on the internet. That's so well known at this point that it's pretty much cliche. And I think we all assume that we're good at figuring out what we should and shouldn't believe, but I'm finding that that's just not the case. From what I can tell, everybody's just believing everything they see all the time, because we don't take just an extra second to think about what we're watching or to look into it. We just see a thing, believe it, and move on. So I'm going to show you some videos, some of which have gone pretty viral, of people being deceptive or lying for various reasons. But this really isn't about how many people are lying on the internet, because we know that's a lot. This is mostly about how many people are believing it, and why, in my opinion, that is not great for society, that so many people are so quick to believe basically everything. And while some of these people do use AI, that's not really what this is about. This is not about being deceived by like deep fakes or anything like that. This is people being deceptive intentionally. So let's take a look at the video that sent me down this rabbit hole and has gotten me to sort of second guess basically everything I see now. And if you end up liking the video, don't forget to hit that like button. Thanks.
If you were to ask me as a hiring manager why I do not hire younger employees, specifically Gen Z, here's a prime example. I hired a Gen Z employee probably 2 weeks ago, and she was so sweet. Like I said, I don't typically hire younger employees, but she had all the qualifications, so I thought, why not? The other day, I get a message from her, and she's asking for PTO. She's been hired for 2 weeks, so the answer is no. But regardless, I said that I would look into it, and I was going to look into the schedule and see what I could do. Not even 12 hours go by, and she sends me a follow-up email. And instead of being a normal human being, just asking to check up on me, she sent me a link. I will just go ahead and play this for you because I can't explain it.
Started 4 weeks ago, still learning names. Now I'm in your inbox, like got some plans.
All right, so basically it's an AI song asking for PTO, right?
Not only have you not even been hired for a month yet.
So basically she is still berating this employee that absolutely exists. If you look at the comments, everybody believes this. Like this person says, I would be careful with your wording as a hiring manager because it sounds an awful lot like you're discriminating against her because of her age, which violates being an equal opportunity employer. Well, the good news is she didn't have to worry about that because she's not a hiring manager. This is all BS, every little bit of it, but everybody is believing it, right? You must be an absolute joy to work with. I love Gen Z bringing humanity to the workplace, etc., etc. So why am I so confident that this is BS? Well, let's take a look at her channel. It's called Page Music, first of all. And when you look at the videos that she makes, they are all AI music, turning little sister's text into a song, turning ex-boyfriend's text into a song, turning text into songs tutorial, all this kind of stuff. It is all just creating AI music. Now, you might say, maybe that's a coincidence. You know, she just happens to make all AI music content, basically, and she also just happens to be a hiring manager whose employee sends her an AI song. I mean, maybe. But to me, the final nail in the coffin is this. This video of hers that we were just talking about was released in March of this year, and it has like 2 million views, something like that. Well, in December of last year, this video was released, and it has like 100 million views. It was wildly viral.
This honestly has to be the best call-off I've ever had in my 10 years of managing employees. My employee just left this on my voicemail to call in. Just listen.
Hey boss, it's me. Hate to call you late, but my uterus woke up choosing violence today. Cramps got hands.
As you can see, this is the exact same situation, the same idea. And the funny thing is, this is almost definitely also not real. This is Nina Jams. And her bio says, creating new music with Suno, the AI app, that people think they already know. So she just creates AI music, and then she makes up scenarios to make it interesting. And if you look at her channel, this is the video that we just watched. It is my employee sent me an AI song video, all right? Well, a little bit before that, she made this video, which is saying that a Gen Z employee sent her an AI song.
One of my employees told me that she's having a rough week and that she might take off Thursday and Friday just for her mental health. And I'm all about that. This is what I woke up to on my voicemail today.
I had a melody that my yesterday sent to me email draft that just said no way.
And those aren't the only ones. In fact, her entire channel is just turning things into AI slop songs, including this one, which is not one that we've already looked at, that says, my Gen Z employee asked for mental health days off in a song on my voicemail. So it's pretty obvious to me that she's just making up scenarios that make these AI slop songs interesting in the hopes to go viral. And she did a couple of times. But of course, if you look at the comments, you've got Gen Z is the generation that ends mindless, obsessive work ethic. And this says, I run my own business. As a boss, I don't care why you need time off, et cetera, et cetera. This person says, we are not winning the next war. Basically, a commentary on the fact that this is a Gen Z imaginary employee doing this. Now, here's the thing. The way that Nina Jams, this lady, is doing it is pretty much harmless. Again, other than the fact that people are just believing it willy-nilly without a second thought, it isn't really harmful, right? Because she's saying that it's interesting and funny, and she's giving her employees credit for being creative, that kind of thing. So it's not malicious or anything like that. Our Copycat page Music, on the other hand, instead of continuing with the positivity and, just kind of giving props to Gen Z, she decides that she's going to come on here and lie about hiring Gen Z and say that they are stupid and lazy and worthless because asking for PTO after 2 weeks, this imaginary person, this is representative of Gen Z. Now, the good news is, other than the fact that people are believing this, they are actually sticking up for the employee, the imaginary employee. So, I mean, at least there's some positivity that comes from this, but there are going to be a lot of people who watch this, and even if they don't realize it, they're going to see it, they're going to emotionally react, they may leave a comment, they may not, but they're going to log that away and move on. So now, this idea that Gen Z is lazy enough to ask for PTO after 2 weeks of starting there, that sort of works its way into their already forming biases of the younger generations. But right now, especially when Gen Z is really, really struggling to find jobs, this is not it. This is not helpful. This is harmful to the younger generation who already has an uphill battle. They don't need jackasses like this coming on, pretending they've hired an employee who's Gen Z and saying, look at how stupid and lazy they are. And going as far as to say, I don't hire Gen Z employees, and this is why. And it's all made up. And simply because she saw somebody else go viral with this idea, and she decided to put her own malicious twist on it. And you might say, well, it was just like a trend, right? They're starting a trend. But I don't think it feels like a trend when you just see that somebody else had a thing happen to them, and then you just get on and say, hey, this exact same thing happened to me, and pretend like you're the first one to have experienced it. That just feels like lying. So I don't think that really counts as a trend. But speaking of copying and hoping to go viral, you might have seen this pretty mega viral clip of a dog who escaped her backyard and ran straight to her doggy daycare. And I'll let play just a little snippet of the music in this video so that you can tell what song it is, because that's actually going to come into play later.
If I could escape.
that Gwen Stefani song, If I Could Escape. And it was a pretty wholesome moment. In fact, this dog became so famous, she actually, I guess, was already featured on Good Morning America, as you can see here. So it was a pretty big deal. And there were so many comments that were like, you know, this is such a green flag review for the daycare. This should be a commercial for your doggy daycare. So cute. Better than any Google review. She's a marketing queen. That kind of thing. So they're all basically saying, what a great ad for your doggy daycare. Now, whether or not this particular instance is real, I'm not 100% sure. But let me know if this looks familiar.
If I could escape.
So that is a different dog, a different daycare. It was uploaded just a few days after the first one had gone mega viral. I'm just going to say the odds of two dogs escaping their home and running to their daycare within the same week are 0. That's just not real, right? So I'm confident in saying that at least the second one is fake. And they saw the virality of the first one and were like, man, that is a great idea. What a great marketing campaign. Yeah, it is. It worked very well for the first one. And so then that makes me think, are both of them fake? You know, because now I'm thinking it would not be that hard to set this up. So either the first doggy daycare had just an incredible, interesting experience happen and they were smart enough to put it online and it just worked out really well for them, or they either hired a marketing firm or they are genius marketers themselves and they just had this great idea. But again, I am positive that the second doggy daycare saw what a great idea that was and just set up this fake real moment. But again, you have a lot of people that I guess didn't see the first one. Now, this first one says, is this a trend now? Dogs running away to daycare? So at least somebody noticed, but a lot of people didn't. And they are, look, this right here says, this is the best advertisement you could have. Your daycare is doggy approved. I'd take this review over a human review. And they're all just like, wow, this is so funny and so cute. All the other dogs, the man, the myth, you know, so it's very clear that they're just buying it. And it's because most of them didn't see the first one, so they don't realize that this is just somebody copying. And again, it's not that big of a deal. It's not like they're lying and like scamming anybody, right? But it's just an example of how easy it is to deceive people, right or wrong, you know, and how quick people are to just believe it and move on. So now we're going to get into some more of the problematic stuff. Chances are, if you have been watching short form content for very long, whether it's Instagram Reels or TikToks or whatever, you have come across people who are saying that they have caught their partner cheating. And there was always one sort of common denominator that I kept seeing. And at one point I realized that something was fishy. So watch this for a second and tell me if anything just jumps out at you.
Now, I will put her in the car seat. Leave now. Go. What are you guys still doing?
What? What do you mean?
I thought that you were leaving at 3 o'clock to go to my sister's.
Okay.
So, what are you doing here just like doing the dishes and stuff?
I changed my mind.
What do you mean you changed your mind?
I decided.
Why?
I decided I didn't want to go anymore.
Well, why didn't you tell me?
Why do I need to tell you my plans?
Because I have plans. I need you to go.
Why? What do you need me to go for?
Because you have plans, I have plans, and I want to fulfill those plans. So can you please leave?
Well, no, because I canceled my plans when I discovered your plans.
What do you think my plans are?
You're having Sophie over.
Who's Sophie?
Sophie's the girl you've been talking to on Tinder for the last 3 weeks. What do you think? I'm an idiot?
Okay, so first of all, notice how many times he looked at the phone. He knows he's being recorded, right? They're not terribly great actors to begin with, but when you see these I caught them cheating videos, almost every single one of them will have Cheater Buster pop up. Now on this one, the good news is the top comment is there's no way this is real. So at least one person was thinking this through. But then you have absolutely not, girl. Leave him, please. Leave him. And this one, luckily, just happens to be far more obvious than a lot of other ones. But I have another one here. And it says, I found out my husband has been cheating. His car was in my name, so I signed it over to my mom and told her she could have it.
Are you trying to go somewhere or something?
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I have my text.
That's the same people. Oh, it's the same account. What do you know? But if you look at their channel, every single video is, I caught him cheating. My cheating husband snuck outside. That's every video they make. And here's another one that went pretty viral. It has like 7 million views from another channel. And it's this guy is waiting at home for his wife to come through the door. She missed their daughter's kindergarten graduation because she was out cheating. That's terrible. And of course, you've got your cheater buster pop up. And again, every single video they make is about catching his wife cheating. And every single one has the cheater buster pop up. So when we're scrolling, and I say we because I fall for this stuff too, we need to have our radar up for things that are not true. And it just takes a second to look at their account. And 9 times out of 10, you'll get an answer pretty quick whether or not what you're looking at is real. So this one is sort of another version of that cheater buster thing. But this one honestly feels problematic. Let me know what you think about this one.
I think this date's over.
Well, that's the dumbest shit I've heard. So that's not even going to be the case right now. This date is not over. Like I said, we are going to do what I want to do.
No.
No. We're going to do what I want to do, and I don't give a shit what you have to say. So unlock, and let's go inside.
No.
Okay, well, you don't make the calls right now. I do. I said, take off the seatbelt and get your ass inside.
My seatbelt's
We are
already
going to
off.
have fun.
So this one actually did get quite a bit of attention, and obviously you can see in the comments that people are concerned. Girl dad here, immediate temporary restraining order and a firearm. This scumbag is a R-word-ist. Send it to his employer. In fact, find his Facebook and send it to his parents. I'd be calling 911. Why are you still sitting there? Always drive yourself. Now, you might say just because there's an app being promoted in this doesn't mean it's fake. Maybe this is true. Maybe just after this experience, she searched him on this Sherlock app and wanted to share that with everybody. But that's not what's happening here, and I'll show you how I know that in just a second. But they are pretending that she is in a dangerous situation with a guy who seems abusive. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, that feels real scummy because basically the entire comment section is concerned. So a couple of things. First of all, her channel name, well, besides Claire, is Dear Sherlock. And Sherlock just happens to be the name of the app that she's promoting. So that should be enough right there. But also you have basically several videos of the same scenario. And this is the best example of how I know that this is all a lie.
No, I'm not getting out of the car. I don't know where we are.
It doesn't matter where we are. And I don't think that you think that this is a game. It's not a fucking game. I need you to get out of the car. Stop
I'm not
talking.
getting out of
Stop.
So again, this is disgusting. The acting is terrible, so we can tell this is not real, but just think about what they're doing to advertise this app. Now, I think maybe the idea is, hey, if you find yourself in this situation, this app could be helpful for you. I don't know, but that's not what they're saying. They are pretending like this is actually happening to her. Nobody cares about Sherlock. Nobody is looking at this going, oh man, I need to check out Sherlock. They're all concerned for this lady. Call the police. My rage could literally never. Call the cops. Everybody's believing it. Because why wouldn't they? Who would do this? So here's another one. Honestly, this one's just kind of funny and stupid, but I still am concerned at how many people are believing it. But let's just listen to this for a second.
So I'm just coming on here to air my grievances, and I want to know if I'm crazy. But my husband has been going on these trips with his friend. He sees them once a month for a long weekend, and whatever, that's fine. We've got 2 little kids. I just watch the kids, and he goes and does his, thing. But last week, he's like, hey, me and his buddy are going to go to France over summer for 2 weeks all excited. And he's like, check this out. I found tickets on Air Club for $450 round trip. We're going to go for 2.5 weeks. I'm like, what? How? I never get to go on trips like that. I don't understand.
All right, so obviously the implication is, hey, guys, is my husband gay and I don't know it, you know? And as soon as I saw it, my first thought was, nobody's this stupid, right? This is obviously, I was thinking it was rage bait. And then I went back and listened to it again and realized she mentioned Air Club. Now, people, I guess, are not noticing that. A lot of people are mentioning Brokeback Mountain, Girl, He Has Another Life, A Summer in France, How Romantic, A Long Weekend Every Single Month, absolutely not. Ma'am, he's going to Paris with the love of his life, sorry. Now, none of this is real. It's a completely fabricated story. And yet again, if people would just take a second to see that her channel name is Fly with Jeanette, and every video is talking about Air Club. So here's a different video.
So I just need to talk this out because I don't know if I'm being paranoid or something, but my husband has been on this whole kick lately where he's working out every single day and he's gotten in really good shape and he bought new clothes and he even smells different. I don't know. I haven't said anything because, you know, it's hard after having kids, taking care of yourself and getting back in shape.
I'm gonna guess he found a really great deal on Air Club and he wants to go away for a weekend with his buddies or with somebody.
Difficult, I guess even for men. Anyway, a couple weeks ago, he told me that he wanted to go on a trip with his friend, just the two of them. And I don't know, that's cool, I guess. Jury's still out. But last night, I was working on planning our family vacation that we're gonna do later this year. So I'm in the Air Club app. It's like a flight deals thing. And I'm on there searching for our trip, good flight deals and stuff.
Good flights and deals, you know. That is totally natural. You know, that sounds exactly like a regular conversation that all of us would have. So, again, it's just people believing, look, trust your gut. Nope, not paranoid. Trust your instincts. Wake up. No, not paranoid. They don't realize they're being advertised to. Now, I mean, I guess the good news is nobody cares about Air Club. Nobody's saying anything, but it's all subliminal, right? That's kind of the angle here with all of these sneaky ads is they just say it enough and you see it enough that you just sort of think like the next time these people look for a flight, they may go, what was that one thing that lady said? Air Club, that might work, you know, that's what they're hoping for. So the last thing I want to talk about is this kind of silly one. And really, for the most part, none of these have been all that harmful or problematic, except for the couple that I sort of pointed out. This one, though, I just think it's kind of funny and, again, harmless, but let's just put our thinking caps on for a second and listen to a bit of this story and let's figure out together if we think this is real or not.
Into a lot of weddings, but the craziest wedding I ever went to in my whole life happened this past weekend. The groom stands up. He is clearly drunk as hell. I will say the bartender, Jimmy, was pouring them drinks heavy, okay? I was a little tipsy too.
Now, I will say, regardless of whether this story is true or not, I love this guy. He tells a story really well. He is so fun to listen to, but again, let's just keep going.
And you can see that the groom, who is drunk as hell, he's getting agitated. And it's almost like he just word vomited and said, can you shut the fuck up? But like rightfully so, it's his wedding and these people are arguing next to me, right? The guy next to me, he stands up and he starts in a beeline towards the groom. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And where is the cake? When he gets in front of the groom, he don't cuss him out. He don't hit him. Y'all never guess what he did. He headbutted the groom.
All right, so again, I love this guy. In fact, I'm going to follow him on video so you can see that nothing against him at all. And this very well could be true, all right? My first thought is this has to be on video somewhere, right? Like this would be a huge deal. This would probably go viral if somebody had a video of somebody headbutting the groom in the middle of a speech. And there's always somebody filming all the time everywhere, especially at a wedding, and especially if the groom is wasted. So it would be unlikely, I would think, that nobody would have caught that on video. Now, does all of that mean that this didn't happen? Not necessarily, but if you have a keen eye, and if you sort of look a little further, you might notice that there is a comment here at the top that says, "The minute I heard mushroom risotto, I knew you were talking about the drama." And this person says, "I'm confused. He's talking about the movie, The Drama." And then this person says, "A movie? Wasted my damn time." And it's sort of hinted at here, what says the wedding drama, but it's just him telling the story of a movie. Now, that's fine. And it was really entertaining and fun to listen to. And what's even funnier is if you Google groom gets headbutted, there are a couple of sites covering this as though it's like a real story. This one says TikToker K-Tone went to a wedding where the groom got headbutted by a guest and started bleeding during his speech. But yet again, if you look at his channel, he is a movie and TV show critic. But a lot of people assumed that they were hearing a real story. You patiently waiting for the cake. Everyone at table 26 waiting for the cake. Thought you were going to say he kissed the groom. I like this one. It says, I ain't going to say no names. Bartender, Jimmy. And you're an amazing storyteller. And that's the thing is, the way he told the story was amazing. And it made you feel like he was really there. But just keep in mind that even this benign, silly, fun story was not real. It was based on a movie. But there are a lot of videos out there that are intentionally deceptive for a variety of reasons, and most of them having to do with money, right? And I think it's important that we all remember that cliche that you shouldn't believe everything you see, and it's gotten to the point where you probably just should not believe almost anything you see on the internet. Because while a lot of it is pretty harmless in the grand scheme of things, almost everything we see is helping us form our biases and the way we see the world and the way we see other people, whether we realize it or not. So when we see a video and we form an opinion about a person or a group of people or a situation, and it turns out it's not true, that's harmful to society. That's not good. We need to be more careful because it can have real world ramifications. Somebody who might be an actual hiring coordinator could watch that AI song video about how stupid and lazy Gen Z employees are, and whether they even know it or not, that bias has sort of snuck its way in based on a lie, based on a situation that did not exist and a person that did not even exist. So this is not like a hot take, right? This is not some new information that people lie on the internet, but just keep in mind how easy it is to believe, especially short form content, because by design, you are meant to absorb the information, emotionally react, and move on. That's what they want you to do. They don't want you to take the extra second to find out if something's true or not. And when I say they, I mean the people making the video, but also the companies themselves. They want you emotionally invested into everything, and they don't care whether it's true or not. Because I think we're all starting to realize they don't care what harm they put into the world, and they never will. So thank you for coming on this little journey with me. I appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.